Beginning saxophone, the jazz approach. In this video, we'll work our way through the playing exercises found in the Getting Started portion of your beginning saxophone introductory lessons. So locate the Getting Started portion of that set of lessons, print it out or view it on your computer screen. And as we go ahead, we'll be learning 3 notes on the saxophone. For these 3 notes, the B, the A, and the G, we'll use 3 keys in the left hand. Now, you know your thumb position from the making sounds portion of the introduction, so I won't go through that again. I won't go through the embouchure, but I'll show you the fingerings for the B, the A, and the G. Now notice at the top of the saxophone, and this holds true for alto or tenor, it should be the same. You've got this top key. It may have a different appearance on different saxophones. Some keys it'll have this nickel key here. Other ones will have a teardrop golden shaped key right there. But either way, we're going to not use that key for now. So take your first finger, skip that first key, place it on the second large key on the front of the saxophone. The next key, the small key that you can see I'm pressing, we're going to skip it for now too. We won't be using it yet. You'll learn to use these keys later. So the second finger goes on the next large key. Your third finger goes on the final key, and your pinky can rest above the golden spatula-shaped keys. They may be silver on some saxophones, but either way, there's a flat set of keys right there. Just keep your pinky resting above those. You won't use those yet either. The right hand is easy. You've got 3 keys on the front row of keys on the saxophone. 1, 2, 3. 3 fingers, 3 keys. The pinky will rest right here. Now we won't press any of these keys in the right hand in this lesson, but you know where they go, so just keep the fingers resting in position so that you get used to holding the horn correctly. Now, the first note we'll learn is a B, and it's fingered using just that first key I showed you. So I'm going to keep these fingers in position. I'm going to press the B. There's your B. Now I'll go through this again later in the lesson as we learn to read the music. We'll go through the fingerings and learn to read the fingering diagram guide as well. But I thought it'd be easier to just go ahead and show you where to put your fingers. B, 2 fingers in combination make an A, and 3 fingers, all 3 of the fingers in the left hand, the top 3 fingers, will form a G. So let's go ahead and get started now. So as we continue with the playing exercises, you'll learn to read the notes B, A, and G, and you'll learn to finger them on your saxophone again. Now, each note, as you learn it, will have a fingering diagram that looks sort of like this above it, with keys or circles blackened in that show you which key to press. And you can take a few minutes and look through the fingering diagram guide and cross-reference each of the keys with the keys on the saxophone so you'll know how to read and interpret the fingering diagram guide. There's a left-hand diagram guide and a right-hand diagram guide. The first note you'll learn to read and play is the B, and you can see in the fingering diagram guide that the large circle at the top of the diagram guide is blackened in. That represents the first finger like I showed you in the opening video clip. Notice on the music stave that the B is the note that sits dead in the middle of the music stave. So it's in the middle of the 3rd line from the bottom, or you could, if you're counting from the top, the 3rd line from the top down. Right in the middle is your B. The first finger in the left hand on the first key of the saxophone makes your B. Go ahead and close the key firmly while keeping your thumbs on your thumb rest. Be sure you're not pressing any side keys with either hand, and keep the other fingers resting slightly above their keys. Now typically music has rhythm or a beat to it, but right now we really just want to focus on getting the best sound possible out of your sax. So form an embouchure like we learned in the Making Sounds lesson. Take in a big deep breath and play and sustain the B several times. Remember to tongue it or articulate it each time you play it. The next note you'll learn is an A. Follow the fingering diagram and you'll see that you should press the first two fingers in the left hand to create the A fingering. Again, be careful not to press any side keys as you finger the A. Take a deep breath, form an embouchure, and play and sustain the A several times. Remember to articulate it. The tone of the A should be slightly lower in pitch than the B that you played a minute ago. The final note you'll learn in this lesson is a G. So press the first three fingers in the left hand on their keys. Keep your pinky resting on the set of spatula keys. So like before, form an embouchure, take a deep breath, keep your cheeks in, focus your cheeks inward, play and sustain the low G several times. This tone should sound a little lower than both the B and the A. The low G may be a little more difficult to produce than the B and the A. It has a tendency to break pitch and go high, so it might help if you blow a little softer and try relaxing the embouchure a little bit. Either way, work with it until you can pronounce it several times. If you continue to have difficulty getting the G to pronounce, try playing the notes B, A, and G in succession several times. Sometimes playing down to the note helps. Once you're able to play the B, the A, and the G with good consistency, you'll be ready to move on to playing exercises 2 through 5. Now these exercises will play in time, that is with a beat, so have your metronome ready. Let's begin with exercise number 2. Now if you look to the left of the music stave in exercise number 2, you'll see the symbol 4/4. This is called the time signature. It's the most common time, known as 4/4. Really the most important thing this is telling you right now is that there are 4 beats in a measure. Later we'll have different kinds of time signatures, but for now we're just going to deal with 4/4 time. A measure is the space between two vertical lines on the music stave. Measures, also known as bars, are used to measure a certain amount of time. In the case of 4/4 time, 4 beats per measure. In exercise number 2, you'll notice that each bar or each measure has a count of 1, 2, 3, 4 under it. Exercise 2 consists of whole notes and whole rest. Now, if you've looked over sheet music in the past, you've probably seen notes that are blackened in with stems attached to them. Whole notes have an open circular appearance with no stem. In 4/4 time, a whole note gets 4 counts or 4 beats. What this means is that you sustain the tone for a count of 4 beats. Whole rest have the appearance of a blackened-in rectangle placed on the underside of one of the horizontal lines on the music stave. A whole rest gets 4 beats or 4 counts of silence. The first note in exercise 2 is a whole note B, so you'll sustain a B for 4 beats. This is followed by a whole rest, so you'll have 4 beats of silence, followed by a whole note A, 4 beats on an A, etc. The 1, 2, 3, 4 count under each measure is just a reminder for you to count as you play. Music typically won't have the 1, 2, 3, 4 written under every measure. I'll set my metronome at 60 and demonstrate the exercise. Perform exercises 2 through 5 in a similar manner. Now remember to tongue each of the tones. Keep your metronome clicking at a moderately slow tempo. It doesn't have to be 60, but 60 is a good tempo for starters. As you get comfortable with the exercises, try varying the tempos between about 60 and 90 beats a minute. Remember, it's more important to get it accurate at the slower tempo before you start speeding it up. So, work for accuracy first, speed second. After you're pretty comfortable playing the exercises with the metronome, you can try playing them without the metronome if you'd like. Just make sure that you're keeping absolutely steady and accurate time. Keep your foot tapping and count 1, 2, 3, 4 in each measure that you're playing and each measure of rest. Once you're able to play the getting started exercises with good time and sound, you'll be ready to move ahead to Lesson 1 in the Beginning Sax series. Now, follow along in the video if you wish, or you can read off the written lesson as I demonstrate exercises 2 through 5. Beginning Sax, the Jazz Approach, is a product of Randy Hunter Jazz. Visit us on the web at beginningsax.com or randyhunterjazz.com.